Right, so I'm going to talk about level 5. Level 5 really has this two big elements in it that, in terms of your development. You have to learn the disarms, 12 on the left side, 12 on the right side. That's the base of it. However, at level 5, you are expected to be able to feed and teach levels 1 to 4 previous to it. So you may be able to learn the disarms rather quickly, but you also need to learn how to feed, and that's where you may end up staying long. So you're starting to take on the role now of the senior, taking on the role of being a teacher to somebody that's junior to you. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about the disarms. So in level 4, we talked about the live hand, the left hand starting to become activated. You know, during push and pull, during butting, you see that happening. The reason why is because at level 5, your live hand plays a huge and crucial part when it comes to the disarms in terms of manipulation. So remember from level 4, number 1 please, you've got butting this way. Right? So he strikes number 1, standard number 1. No, standard number 1. Good. You've got butting. However, now your live hand is going to go here on this side. That's where you're going to go for your number 1 disarm. So that means this ability of your live hand to do work, to manipulate and set up movements becomes important, because your live hand, Grandmaster Bobby calls it the feeler. The feeler and the feeler. So that means when you're in play, you play here. You set it up. You move here, decide. There's your number 1 disarm. You wouldn't be able to do that if your live hand isn't quick enough, your live hand stays lazy. It has to come in and play. So that's one of the biggest lessons really in level 5, activating your live hand. So it doesn't matter if it's on this side or on this side, so number 2. This part, do this one, where this pack up happens. If your live hand is weak, it does nothing. But if the live hand is strong, it comes up strong. So it's that left hand being a huge part of the play. So really, for me, for a student going through level 5, your biggest focus is using your live hand and making it into a much more active player, not just in the defense, but also in affecting the change that you want to do.
So I suppose it would be good while you're in level 4 to understand what level 5 is all about. Yes. Therefore, you can start to begin developing these attributes.
I actually explained to a level 4 student that the reason why they're doing a butting, aside from actually butting the person or hitting the person, is because you're setting up to learn how to disarm, to set up the disarms. Right? So that's why in a level 4 student, there's a little bit of that explanation as well.
So level 5 will kind of, where do you focus? If you're a level 6 and you're teaching a level 5, what advice might you give them to develop that?
Yes. So first of all, you need a little bit of patience, right? What happens, like when he's my instructor, for example. Actually, no, let's switch roles. I'll be the instructor, and he is the level 5 student. He's learning his disarms from here. When he does his grab, right? The grabbing, you need to understand the energy that they give to you, right? So it's got to be just the right amount of energy. If it's too much, you're exerting a lot of energy, then it's a signal for you to kind of counter his movement. Because, like I said earlier, you want him to kind of be subtle in the way he does it. Really quickly, boom, there. I focused on this because that's what I felt. I didn't realize he captured me there, right? So there's that little trick here that happens. And you won't get that if you're rushing through the program, rushing through the system of going, okay, I know what it is, I've memorized that sequence. No, you gotta feel the energy that is needed. Boom, there. Right.
Are the disarms, did you say there were 12 on each side?
There's 12 on each side. So 12 on the right side, 12 on the left side as well.
Can we see 3 or 4
Let's
of them?
see. So number 1 is a standard fist to fist. Boom. Right. Number 5, strip. There's also a variation of it where I'm holding strong, he goes up, there. Okay. And there's also another one where he butts to my face because I'm holding strong down here. Up, and he goes down and disarms. So you got those options as well. What's another good one? So if I give the thrust, stand. So you notice that everything's about the live hand in this play. If your live hand's not working, it's not gonna give you the disarm that you need.
So good advice then is to focus on that live hand.
The live hand, the subtlety of the movement, right? So don't rush through it. It's easy to memorize 24 techniques. It's harder to understand how it really works. So you want to take the time, make sure your teacher explains the movements to you. Yeah.
And it's so subtle because even if you're too big, you're gonna get countered easily. You have to work in the subtleties, and the teacher's job is to make sure I know that it's that subtle and that tight, and also be aware of that other hand too. So there's too many nuances that you can't just say, I'll do my number 8.
Yeah.
That's just not how
He may have memorized it, that huge movement,
Yeah.
it's a big movement, but to get that subtlety.
and on live play,
Yeah.
because you do it
Yeah.
and then you go
Because
live.
that's the first part. You do it in isolation, kind of naked, right? You see everything. Like you see this. Boom. Right? He sees that coming. But in reality, he should be able to do it from play. Play. Number 7 to start. He should be able to pull it off while in the defensive stage. Yeah.
Again, it's you need to explore a lot. You need to play a lot.
Yeah, you definitely grow in the art at this point. So the growth that you saw in level 3 and level 4, it continues here. Even though on curriculum, on paper, it says one line, 24 disarms, 12 on one side, 12 on the other. One line in the curriculum. But it takes long to actually learn it. So you need to have patience and stay in that level until you get that subtlety. Be able to pull it off and play. You can even push yourself, be both the defender and the player in a disarm, right? As a fear.
You know what's a good example that Guru Terrence is talking about? The disarm 8 from this side. Okay, I'm gonna show you a rushed version of somebody who YouTube did, whatever, bad instruction. So disarm is a snake, it's a vine. This is what it should really look like. See, the load and into your, it's that subtle slap down because you got the block. There's that slap down which already creates the vine, but this is your lazy. Pass me. I got the disarm.
Yeah, I know how to do it, but no,
No, there you
there's
go.
that subtlety that you need to be able to do it in play. And in fact, if you're a savvy Bulletov player with a background in other styles, you're gonna feel like other things will come out naturally in the play, right? So you'd be playing it, remember this one, boom, here. You'd feel like you'd want to feed this. You'd feed this, and then this happens. Yeah. So that disarm still happened in my left hand.
Yep.
But this plate, and then you can build it up as you go to your 24. But that's a discussion for a different time.
And that's why we load.
Yeah.
Because that opened up. We tell people pull, it's a push pull, but they don't even realize they're training this hand just to fire right away, whether or not the disarm happens.
So even number 2, please. The very first disarm on number 2 side. This one. You see GM Bobby pulls back here to the center advanced position. I could just stay there. I just go here, what? Like that? Looks kind of cool, right? But no, you're not loading the power to the right hand. From here, boom, this happens.
Exactly.
That has to be ready.
So the live hand is working on one thing, the right hand is working on
Yes.
another thing,
Yeah.
and it's all, and you got to keep a bird's eye view on all of these things to be able to make sound choices in live energy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Very interesting. So the overarching advice for people at this level is
Be patient with level 5. Learn the disarms, but also learn the subtleties of it. Be able to apply it and play in a very efficient way. Because if you notice your movements are huge, that's not going to work. If you notice that you're not preparing with your right hand to fire right away, it's not going to work. You're going to get countered pretty quickly. So be patient, learn the movements, even the other stuff outside of the left hand. So even though this is the first part of learning, right, number 2, here, for example. So while this could happen, this has to work as well. So I'm not going to keep it lazy here, right? But this is me being lazy.
Yep.
I didn't do anything. But when I do this, oh, this side. So this comes to be ready as well.
right. I can see people in this level fixating on just the disarm, just fixating on it.
Yep.
But so many other things are happening here that if you don't take your time, like you said, if you're impatient, you're not gonna extract what
Yes.
GM Bobby meant for you to. At this
Exactly. And what also happens is it limits your next options in the move. Because number 2, please. So if I'm here and all I do is this, it limits my options. I need to reset to show it. Maybe I can thrust. Maybe I can do a switch. Yeah. But if you prepare, like here, for example, you don't know if this fires. You don't know if this fires. You don't know if this locks. So you got a whole bunch of other things to control.
It also put me more in a defensive state. When he did it lazy, I almost felt like I could counter it.
could counter
But when
it,
he
yeah.
did it, when he loaded, have you noticed? I went. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
So I got actually scared,
Yeah.
and that's just, and it trains me to always be aware too. So I'm learning. I'm like, okay, don't just assume, right?
You should see a change in your partner's physical state, right? So from here, me being lazy, nothing. Shoulders nice and straight, shoulders relaxed, no movement. I kind of want to make him bob like a chicken.
Right.
So this caused that to change. Yeah.
Higher levels of understanding of this level, you're really getting into the fight, I think.
Yeah, you want to be able to feel all the energy, all the subtleties here. Don't just go, I memorized it, I'm ready to move on. No, take your time. That's where you start learning to accept the pain in more subtle ways. Bobby has a unofficial 13 and 14 on the one side. But my favorite is just number 14 over here, or 13. That little form underneath here. Boom. Yeah. So it's that I'm starting to inflict pain a little bit in the student because they're advanced enough to kind of work with that. And she's my teacher anyway, so you should be able to give it a little bit, yeah, or take a little bit of pain. Yeah.
Thanks for the advice. Be patient. Take your time.
Thank you.
And seek to understand.
Definitely, yeah. Take your time, find a good teacher that will guide you through the subtleties.